All praises, all praises. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Ba, Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai. That's who the world instantly calls Jesus Christ. And we're back at it with another class, man. And as the title says, relations and relationships, man. Good. I don't know what's going on. You all right? It seems like my brother having a little technical difficulties. I don't know what just happened. Well, just give it a second, man. Give him a second. He'll get back on here. But the brother had a powerful class. It's called Relations and Relationships, man. I'm gonna give him a second, man. Then like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe, man. As y'all can see, man, there's a lot going on in the world right now. A lot. Right. Put a one in the chat, man. If anybody's seen what Donald Trump has been up to. Donald Trump has been up to. Because I see he's releasing all these files. All these things is going on. Like he just put out something on Martin Luther King. All that stuff. Hold on. I see my brother here in the back chat. He's getting right. He in the back chat. We'll give him a second. But also like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Shalom, man. Hey, shalom to Genesis, man. We were just with the Genesis Atlanta camp. Powerful brothers, man. Brothers out there doing the work. Hold on. You mute, bro. Yeah. Hey, your mic ain't connected. Give us a second, people, while we figure this out. His mic ain't connected. I mean, what's going on?
Oh, you got glue on top of it? It's so soft.
Hold on, it's on your iPod. It's like on iPods, bro.
Oh, this is where.
It's on your iPod.
It's somewhere.
Hold on for a second.
All right. Can I say something now?
You good? You good now?
All right, there we go. All right, Lord of Christ, bro.
Oh man. Well, sorry for the technical difficulties, but like I was saying, man, I guess we're gonna give it up for Yahweh again, man. First and foremost, we want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai, who the world even calls Jesus Christ. And like I was saying previously, the title of this class is Relations and Relationships, and my brother has a powerful lesson. So go ahead, bro.
All right, so yeah, I mean, first off, I just wanted to do something because, like we was talking, I feel like when you look at the community of Israel right now, it's the same 2 or 3 topics over and over and over, and the Bible, covers a vast amount of topics. It covers everything, right? So I was out on Saturday and had a conversation with a few people, and of course, it got into multiple wives and relationships, and what the Bible says on those things. So I kind of wanted to put together a lesson kind of built around that, right? But even before I get into that, I want to address a couple things, right? Just kind of set the table a little bit, right? So I'm going to start with Matthew 5:17 in the ESV. Babe, hey, y'all, just keep it down a little bit, please. This is Matthew 5:17 in the ESV. It says, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them." Verse 18, "For truly I say to you, until heaven and earth pass away, not an iota, not a dot will pass from the law until all is accomplished." Verse 19. Well, I really kind of I want to address anyway. I ain't got to go. But there's certain translations that says, matter of fact, here, I'll just get it right. In this translation, matter of fact, it says, "Therefore, whoever relaxes one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do so, the same will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven." So we have to understand that not only should we not relax these laws in the sense of like, so, you know, brothers have a tendency of saying, especially when you're talking about Christians, of, well, that was then and that was done, and you know, that was a dietary law and that's done away. That's relaxing the law. It says you shouldn't relax the law, right? It says if those who relax the law will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven, right? So again, it says, "Therefore, whoever relaxes one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do so, the same will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven," right? So that's what I kind of want to do today, is teach on something that we ain't talked about as often maybe as we should. Like I said, by the conversations that I had this weekend, it's obvious that our people, this is something very important to our people, because I sat somewhere just trying to enjoy, you know, some sports, and the conversation just kept going back to relationships and adultery. And so I just kind of want to address that today, right? So we have to understand, like, one thing about falling a victim, you know, to sin is that sometimes even that in itself is judgment, right? Because once you commit whatever sin, now you are eligible or in line with receiving the punishment attached to that sin. So that sin in itself, in a sense, is your judgment. Because now that you commit that sin, now you got to fall in line and receive that punishment, right? You know, so when you take something like adultery, since we're talking about relationships, right? What's the punishment for adultery, right? It's death, right? And there's other sins in general who carry that capital punishment, if you will. But when we talk about relationships, something like adultery is death. And we understand, we brought this out a month or so, you know, ago, what the definition of adultery is. It's one man sleeping with another man's wife, and it's a man sleeping with anybody, it's a woman sleeping with anybody that's not her husband, period, right? So when you look at the context of relationships, this is something that runs rampant in our community, right? That brothers sleep with each other's wives, and you know, every song talking about I did whatever with your baby mama, and you know, that's that man's wife, right? And you just committed adultery, and you shouldn't be so bragful and boastful about something that commends you. I mean, that condemns you to death, right? So also I want to bring out this too, right? Because when you look at some of the things Christians say, right, like when we talk about Christ coming in the flesh, right, and how he was divine and half human, right? Okay, that's fine, right? But they say like he came in sinful flesh, right, which is true, but they never examine the why, right? So I want to go to Romans 8:3 real quick and deal with the why he came like that, right? Romans 8:3 says, "For what the law could not do, and that it was weak through the flesh, God sending his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh," right? So some people will look at that verse and they'll say, see, he condemned sin like as if he condemned the law. But that's not what's going on, right? Like it says, right? It says, God sending his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh, meaning he came just like us, right? He came just like his brothers, right? Not like a superhero, not like, you know, the most high God, not like a God in that sense of the word, period, but like his own brothers, just like me and you, right? Right? So he came with that same ability to be tempted, right? By the same things that would tempt us. He came with the same ability to be hurt by the same things that would hurt us, right? So that's what it's talking about when it talks about him coming in sinful flesh, right? But at the same time, he stood 10 toes down, like we like to say, looked all of that in the face, and did not partake, right? He wasn't tempted, right? He wasn't hurt by those things that might make you turn or make you weak enough to be tempted. Dave, what you want, buddy? Go see Demi. Grab him for me, please. Go see Demi, okay? So he wasn't tempted by those things, right? But he came just like you and I to show us what? That it could be accomplished. That you don't have to be a superhero to keep this law and to keep this law, to perfection, right? So that's why when he came, we see the concept of the spirit of the law, right? Because before him, as being the example, our brothers and sisters in antiquity, they couldn't do it. Why? Because they was living by the letter of the law, right? And that's why when you talk like how the scriptures say, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, right? When you're living according to the letter of the law, meaning like you try to wiggle wherever you can wiggle, you try to dabble in every little bit of gray room that you can dabble in, that's not living according to the spirit of the law. That's living according to the letter of the law. And he came to show us that we can live according to the spirit of the law. He was the example that we can live according to the spirit of the law, right? So, when you go according to the spirit, not the flesh, right? That perfection that we're talking about, it's doable, it's accomplishable, right? We can accomplish being perfect, and perfect in the sense of complete, right? We talked about this before, how being perfect in the Bible sense of the word just means being complete, right? Complete in your effort, complete in understanding that, if there's a sin in the Bible, there's also a recourse. There's also something that you can do for certain sins, right? So being complete in that sense, right? You mess up, you do the thing you're supposed to do to atone for that mess up. Now, when we talk about relationships, things like adultery, there is no atonement for adultery. Adultery is punishable by death, right? So you commit that sin and your judgment is death, right? So I just wanted to deal with that before we got into some of these scriptures, right? Because again, if you fall a victim to whatever your sin is, now you are in line with the punishment that goes with that sin, right? But again, if we can walk by the spirit, then we can say no. Even if you got the baddest woman in the world in front of you, if she got a husband and you walking according to the spirit, you can turn away from that great temptation. And trust me, I get how sometimes it ain't easy, right? But when you walk in the spirit, all things are doable, right? All things are accomplishable, right? So let me go to because I just want to show too how a sin in itself, sometimes you can almost look at that as your judgment. Because if you're open to committing certain sins, again, there's a certain judgment that comes with every sin, right? Depending on how great the sin, depends on how great the judgment. So first, I want to go to let's go to Proverbs 22 and 14. Let me get that real quick.
Yeah, that's a great point. Also, I wanted to land me back on, because we're in a weird times now where men will actually let you fornicate with their wife.
Right? Crazy, right?
Not me. Weird times.
Not over here, but no, you ain't telling no lies though. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 14 in the GNT, right? And it says, adultery is a trap. It catches those with whom the Lord is angry. So you see right there that sin in itself is almost the judgment is right there in that sin, because it says right there what? Adultery is a trap that's put on you by who? By the Most High, right? It says adultery is a trap. It catches those with whom the Lord is angry, right? So that's, again, why we have to be circumspect and always trying to, correct and check ourselves so that we don't get the Most High in a place where he's angry with us, so he doesn't make you fall a victim to certain sins that come with the punishment of things like death, right? And we also understand too that this punishment is worse than death. We talked about King David losing his child. That's a punishment worse than death, man.
And why did he lose his child?
Because of adultery.
There you go.
Right? So that's, we got to understand, there are punishments worse than death. There are certain things the Most High can do to you and you just wish you was dead. You know what I'm saying? So this is one of those things that we got to be careful about. We got to be circumspect about, right? I want to deal with that too. You know how, you know, the Bible tells you in so many ways that women are our greatest temptation, right? But and listen, I get it. Some beautiful, bad, you know, some beautiful women out here, man. I get it. You know what I'm saying? 1,000%. I understand why that's the case, but it don't change the fact that even in the face of that, we're supposed to stand 10 toes down and walk in the spirit, right? This is Ecclesiastes 17:26. Let me do this in the GNT as well, right? It says, I found something more bitter than death, the woman who is like a trap. The love she offers you will catch, the love she offers you will catch you like a net, and her arms around you will hold you like a chain. A man who pleases God can get away, but she will catch the sinner, right? So again, being circumspect, always checking yourself so that you're not in the place where the Most High puts you in these positions, right? Because like I said, that's why I say that certain sins, in a sense, is like a judgment all in itself, because the thing attached to it is it's something we don't want to deal with. We don't want, you know, like I said, whether it be our children or even us, we don't want to do something that's going to get us punished, according to the law with something like death, right? This is my son is going crazy. Look, this is let me do Proverbs 22. And no, let me do Proverbs 2:16, right? I'll do this one in the NLT, right? It says, wisdom will save you from the immoral woman, from the seductive words of the promiscuous woman. She has abandoned her husband and ignores the covenant she made before God. Entering her house leads to death. It is the road to the grave. The man who visits her is doomed. He will never reach the path of life. Like that's listen, man. Them verses right there. If your issue, you know, again, like I said, I get it. So I'm not being I'm not judging in that sense, because I get it. But if that's your issue, you know, pray, fast on it, try your best to overcome it. Because like it said, that entering her house leads to death, right? The Bible tells us that you're not even supposed to, you're not even supposed to be alone with another man's wife. You're not supposed to go have a drink with another man's wife, right? Yeah. Because it leads to these things right here. I'm gonna read those again because that's crazy, right? Proverbs 2:16, starting verse 16, going to verse 19. It says, wisdom will save you from the immoral woman, from the seductive words of the promiscuous woman. She has abandoned her husband and ignores the covenant she made before God. Entering her house leads to death. It is the road to the grave. The man who visits her is doomed. He will never reach the path of life. Like, that's just, again, that's just the last thing you want. Number one, you don't want to be prisoner to any sin, right? And that's just the bottom line. The scriptures tell us that as well. But you don't want to be prisoner, to something like a beautiful woman, right? Especially when that beautiful woman ain't yours. Now, if it's yours, or she's single in the sense that she up for grabs in that sense, that's a whole nother conversation. But if that woman is somebody else's woman, you got to run in the other direction, man. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's something, like I said, that runs rampant in our community. We brag on it, song after song, like it's the thing to do. Like, that ain't the thing to do, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it comes with horrible judgments, right?
I got a precept.
Come, bet.
All right, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 9, verse 9. Sit not at all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thy arms, and spend not thy money with her at the wine. Lest thy heart incline unto her, and so through thy desire thou fall into destruction.
Everything I just said, right? He just brought out the verses that told you exactly that it's right there in the Bible that you shouldn't even keep company with another man's wife, bro. I don't care. All that, that's my sister. Nigga, that ain't your sister. I mean, that's your sister in a certain context, but no, you can't just be hanging out with another man's wife, because it'll lead down the wrong road sooner or later, right? Especially, let's say she fine and she think you fine, and trust me, sooner or later it's gonna go where it don't need to go.
Like, I got another precept, right? It's the one right above it, right? So this is Sirach, chapter 9, verse 8. Turn away thy eye from a beautiful woman, and look not upon another beauty, for many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman, for wherewith love is kindled as a fire. So don't even get caught up in she's beautiful.
And that's what we talking about. Like, we understand how many beautiful Israelite women is out here. And even beautiful heathen. And even with the heathens, you can't do that if they're married either, right? So it doesn't even matter. But I understand how many beautiful women is out here, man. And I understand the immense temptation that comes with that, bro. It's not easy, you know what I'm saying? But again, when you walk in the spirit and according to the spirit and not according to the flesh, it's doable. Right? Me and my brothers, we know we get out on the streets, we see it, and it's doable. Sometimes they throwing their hook at you so hard you can't get out the way, but it's doable. You know what I'm saying? This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 6 and 24, also in the G&T, right? It says, it can keep you away from bad women, from the seductive words of other men's wives. Don't be tempted by their beauty. Don't be trapped by their flirting eyes. A man can hire a prostitute for the price of a loaf of bread, but adultery will cost him all that he has, right? It says, can you carry fire against your chest without burning your clothes? Like, that's how you got to look at that. Like, it's almost like the verse about who shall pity a snake charmer, right? Mm-hmm. You play certain games, like they said, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Don't even play with certain situations. That's what it's saying, right? It says, can you carry fire against your chest without burning your clothes? Can you walk on hot coals without burning your feet? It is just as dangerous to sleep with another man's wife. Whoever does it will suffer. People don't despise a thief if he steals food when he is hungry. Yet if he is caught, he must pay back 7 times more. He must give up everything he has. But a man who commits adultery doesn't have any sense. He is just destroying himself. He will be dishonored and beaten up. He will permanently be disgraced. It says, a husband is never angrier than when he is jealous. His revenge knows no limits. He will not accept any payment. No amount of gifts will satisfy his anger. And that's the bottom line. Sometimes when you talk about, the punishment being death, sometimes it comes right at that man's hands. Right? Like right on the spot, right? It's just a game that we don't want to play. And I want to address it because, like I said, some of the conversations I was having this weekend, it was just showing me like our people think it's so light. It's not a light thing, right? It's not a light thing. It's not a simple thing to just be out here playing around like that, right?
Well, it's like it because even the Esau court system, right? If you get your wife in the mix of adultery and you, let's just say, unalive her, you'll actually get off on it because they say something about some emotional thing going
on. A crime of passion. It's a crime of passion. Right. Which means that it wasn't premeditated. You didn't sit somewhere and plan it, but the love and the feelings you have for her made you go into a fit of rage in a moment of passion, and many people have gotten off for that. That's a fact.
Which is biblical because death is deserved in a situation like that. Even America's court system understands that.
Facts. And that's what I said. And we got to realize how many times brothers have died, right at the hands of that woman's husband. Like even when you look at the situation that happened with Trouble, rest in peace. That was, I ain't gonna say like a friend, but we knew each other. We was cool. We was always, it was always an easy relationship, me and him. And he died that same way, right? Being in another man's house with his woman. And he unalived him, you know what I'm saying? And I don't wish that on nobody. Definitely somebody who I knew and cared about, But again, it's biblical, right? And that's why I say sometimes you don't get a chance for it to go to the court. that woman's husband is the judge and the jury and the firing squad right there. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a game that our people got to stop taking so lightly. It's a thing we got to stop taking so lightly, right?
Just one more precept, King. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 9, verse 6. Give not thy soul unto harlots, that thou lose not thy inheritance. And that can go twofold. It can be the inheritance of the kingdom of heaven or your money right now.
Your money. Facts. Right.
Go ahead, brother.
Right. No, that's real. This is Proverbs 6 and 32 and through 35 in the CEV. It says, but if you go to bed with another man's wife, you will destroy yourself by your own stupidity. Right? Nobody's going to have, compassion for you. Nobody's going to have empathy and sympathy for you. You destroyed yourself, like it says, by your own stupidity, right? And it's sad that our people think this is a light thing, because when it's your woman, you don't look at it as a light thing. So what makes you think the next man looking at it as a light thing, right? If it's your woman, you willing to kill and die for her. What make you think the next nigga ain't willing to do the same thing? You know what I'm saying? Like it's not a light thing, right? Again, so this is Proverbs 6 and 32. It says, but if you go to bed with another man's wife, you will destroy yourself by your own stupidity. You will be beaten and forever disgraced, because a jealous husband can be furious and merciless when he takes revenge. He won't let you pay him off no matter what you offer, right? This is Proverbs 5 and 15, go through 20, right? It says, drink water from your own well, share your love only with your wife. Why spill the water of your springs in the streets having sex with just anyone? You should reserve it for yourselves. Never share it with strangers. Let your wife be a fountain of blessing for you. Rejoice in the wife of your youth. She is a loving deer, a graceful doe. Let her breast satisfy you always. May you always be captivated by her love. Why be captivated, my son, by an immoral woman, or fondle the breast of a promiscuous woman? Right? So again, that's something you got to look at as well. If a woman is comfortable with letting you in her bed and she got a husband, how many other niggas she done let in there, right? So it's something you don't really want no parts of, no way. Especially when people, you know, the way our people think about energy and the transfer of energy and all those things. Well, that's another reason, yet another reason to not deal with a promiscuous woman, or a woman who's got a man and willing to cheat on that man, right? Willing to commit adultery on that man, right? It can't lead you nowhere good in so many, so many senses of the word, right? This is Proverbs 7 and 6 in the G&T. Says, once I was looking out, I'm gonna go all the way to 27 on this because there's some good stuff in here, man. Once I was looking out the window of my house, and I saw many inexperienced young men, but noticed one foolish fellow in particular. He was walking along the street near the corner where a certain woman lived. He was passing near her house in the evening after it was dark, and then she met him. She was dressed like a prostitute and was making plans. She was a bold and shameless woman who always walked the streets or stood waiting at a corner, right? And even this, right? This is dealing with, in today's time, just those women who, listen, them women who out every night and every club they go to and out every night, they looking for something. And trust me, most nights they getting it. So you shouldn't feel so special if one night you get it. You really should almost feel like you cursed, right? Because it's something she's doing on a regular. And that's what it's talking about right here, right? It says, and then she met him. She was dressed like a prostitute and was making plans. She was a bold and shameless woman who always walked the streets or stood waiting at a corner, sometimes in the streets, sometimes in the marketplace. She threw her arms around the young man, kissed him, looked him straight in the eye and said, I made my offerings today and have the meat from the sacrifices, right? So I came out looking for you. I wanted to find you, and here you are. I covered my bed with sheets of colored linen from Egypt. And again, we got to understand, when you talk about a wicked woman like this, of course she gonna make you feel like you that nigga. Like it's just you. It's all about you. But it tells you right here early in these verses, this is what she do every night. This is what she do.
It's called running game.
She running game on you, right? And listen, the man supposed to have a game. You ain't supposed to let the game be ran on you. You know what I'm saying? So like you just gotta understand, when you meet a woman like this, bro, this is what she do. Right? She know how to make you feel that special because she do it all the time, bro.
That's a trade.
Facts, right? It said, she said, I made my offerings today and have the meat from the sacrifices. So I came out looking for you. I wanted to find you, and here you are. I covered my bed with sheets of colored linen from Egypt. I perfumed it with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come on, let's make love all night. We'll be happy in each other's arms. My husband isn't at home. He's on a long trip. Right. And again, this is the whole point of this lesson, right? A nigga hear some words like this. Oh, this is my shot. This tonight. Nah, bro. Let's say that man come. You know what's up. That nigga walk in the door and he come home early, right? We know what it is, right? But the same thing going on. This is like we always say, nothing new under the sun. This was happening in antiquity. This was happening with our people then. It's happening with our people right now, right? She said, come on, let's make love all night long. We'll be happy in each other's arms. My husband isn't at home. He's on a long trip. He took plenty of money with him and won't be back for 2 weeks. So she tempted him with her charms, and he gave into her smooth talk. Suddenly he was going with her like an ox on the way to be slaughtered, right? Crazy, right? Like a deer prancing into a trap. When an arrow would pierce its heart, right? It says he was like a bird going into a net. He did not know that his life was in danger, right? And again, and I hate to bring up my bro Trouble. You know what I'm saying? But that's exactly what happened to him, bro. And I'm sure he felt like maybe this is something he been wanting to get or already been doing. You know, but either way it goes, this is what it's talking about right here. You thinking you the man of the year, and really you just the man of the hour, right?
Yeah.
This is something right. You know what I'm saying? And it says what? Let me get them parts again. It says suddenly he was going with her like an ox on the way to be slaughtered, like a deer prancing into a trap, where an arrow would pierce its heart. He was like a bird going into a net. He did not know that his life was in danger. It says, now then, sons, listen to me. Pay attention to what I say. Do not let such a woman win your heart. Don't go wandering after her. She has been the ruin of many men and caused the death of too many to count. If you go to her house, you are on the way to the world of the dead. It is a shortcut to death. Like, when you see how the Bible describes these kind of encounters, man, it don't mince words. Like, it's death, danger, trap. Like, the way it's describing these kind of encounters should let us know how really serious it is, even in the Most High's eyes, right? So that's why I say, like, our people play with this way too much. I hear every time I listen to a rap song, I'm not one of the niggas who just condemn all rap. It's a bunch of rap I like. I'm not gonna cap, you know what I'm saying? But that's in so many songs, it's ridiculous, bro. You can't listen to anything, you know, that might be like a new rap song and not hear that reference of somebody baby mama and what you gonna do to her or what you already did to her. Like, it's ridiculous, man.
I got a precept. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 13. Give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman.
Let's say any plague, any wickedness except that. Like, and we gotta understand. We want our sisters to understand. It's like they say, a hit dog will holler. Our women who don't behave like that, we ain't talking about y'all. This ain't about you, right? This is about those women who are out here trapping niggas. Like, because again, some of us don't understand the penalty that comes with this, and some of our women don't either. But the point is that, you know, sometimes you meet that woman that just seem like, you know, you've been waiting forever for her and not understand why it came so easy. It came so easy because this is what she do, bro. This is what she do. You know what I'm saying? And like it says that she led many to death, right? It's what it says. It says, if you go to her house, you are on the way to the world of the dead. It is a shortcut to death, right? So again, there's so many things. I'm gonna keep going. I got some more stuff I want to touch on too. This is Deuteronomy 22 and 23, right? It says, if a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto an husband, and a man find her in the city and lie with her, then ye shall bring them both out unto the gate of that city, and ye shall stone them with stones that they die, right? So again, when we talk about something being punished by death, we're saying it because number one, is in the law, but I'm saying it also because, like I said, sometimes that death comes to you in that same night because that man caught you with his woman, right? But it's literally in the law, right? It says, then ye shall bring them both out into the gate of that city, and ye shall stone them with stones that they die. The damsel because she cried not being in the city, and the man because he hath humbled his neighbor's wife. So thou shalt put away evil from among you, right? All these, listen, that's why the Bible says that all these things were written, you know, aforetime for our learning. All these different accounts, even the laws, you know, all the things the prophets told us, they was written for our learning. It wasn't written for us to just say, wow, what a crazy story. And some of these stories in the Bible is crazy stories that you know what I mean, that will rival the best book ever written, the best novel ever written. But the difference is, number one, they're true, and number two, they're for us to learn from them, right? Hebrews 13:4 says, marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge, right? So again, when we talk about adultery, we understand, according to the law, a man can have another wife, right? But when a man takes a woman that's another man's wife, you've committed adultery. And like it says right here, right? God will judge. But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge. And what's a whoremonger, right? It's basically a pimp, right? So even somebody who is profiting off of a woman who's doing these things, you in the same position as the woman and the man, right?
Yeah. To monger means to sell, so that he's right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm just saying, because I know it's another thing in our community we act like it's a cool thing, but Yeah, you may not be the woman who's doing all this adultery with the man, but you were just as guilty for profiting off of it, and you're going to be judged as well, right? So even being a pimp ain't no cool shit. It ain't nothing cool about it. You know what I'm saying? Sirach 23:18. Let me see. Part I wanted to get. Okay, all right. This Sirach 23:18. I'm gonna go through 21. Right. It says, "A man that breaketh wedlock, saying thus in his heart, who seeth me? I am compassed about with darkness, the walls cover me, and nobody seeth me. What need I to fear? The Most High will not remember my sins." It says, "Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men, and considering the most secret parts." So like it says, he knew all things or ever they were created. So also after they were perfected, he looked upon, right? And that's what happens as well. People think because you off somewhere in the cut somewhere, whatever it is, and people can't see you, that God ain't. Listen, that's what, and we bring out this verse all the time about the Most High's eyes being 10,000 times brighter than the sun. But in this context, it's perfect, right? Because it's just you and this woman somewhere tucked off, ducked off, whatever it is, and hey, no harm, no foul. But the Most High don't agree. It's definitely a harm and it's definitely a foul, and you're definitely going to be judged for it, right? Sirach 23 and 26 says, it says, "Thus shall it go also with the wife that leaveth her husband, and bringeth in an heir by another," right? So it's talking about what? You committed adultery, and now you got a child on the way, right? It says, "For first she had disobeyed the law of the Most High." And again, that's the part that we trying to drill home as well, is that not only is it just foul and wrong, it's literally against the laws of God. Like, we know better, but we know better because it's in the law, right? That's your spirit bearing witness to who you are. The fact that you do something like that, and really, I don't care all the bragging you do, it's something in you that's like, damn, I shouldn't have did that, right? And that's real, especially when you talk about niggas doing it to their literal homeboy, their literal brother. You know what I mean? That's even worse, right? It's even worse when you know this nigga, and you know that's his wife, and you took that shot anyway, right? It's even worse, right? But it says, "Thus shall it go also with the wife that leaveth her husband, and bringeth in an heir by another. For first she had disobeyed the law of the Most High, and secondly she has trespassed against her own husband, and thirdly she had played the whore in adultery, and brought children by another man. She shall be brought out into the congregation, and inquisition shall be made of her children. Her children shall not take root, and her branches shall bring forth no fruit. She shall leave her memory to be cursed, and her reproach shall not be blotted out." Like, come on, man. It's like they telling you she's screwed, the kids screwed. It's nothing good that can come out of this, bro. You know what I mean? It's nothing good that can come out of this, right?
Just to let me back off that point, like what you'll see in modern day, like you ever see them like Maury shows when they say you are not the father, like you know how much destruction,
man, come on,
that adultery brings to the actual family.
A lot.
It brings a lot,
and it's like they say, like when somebody gets murdered, somebody goes to jail, right? When you murder somebody, you killing him, but you killing his family, right? When somebody goes to jail, it ain't just them that serves that time. It's the same when you destroy a family like this. You're not just hurting. It ain't just you, and that it's everybody attached to it that you're hurting, right? That like, you put good.
No, because you'll commit adultery. You try to keep it a secret, and now 10 and 20 and 30 years down the line, the kid wants to know this, and then it's proven that he ain't the father. Like it destroys a lot of stuff.
Crazy. You do. And when you watch some of the shows, some people like be torn to pieces and just can't like couldn't get their whole lives right because of this one thing.
And you know what's so crazy? The one who be destroyed the most be the child.
Right. And that's what it says, right?
Exactly.
That her children shall not take root, and her branches shall bring forth no fruit. She shall leave her memory to be cursed, and her reproach shall not be blotted out. And it's funny too, right? When you look at it in that sense, right? That's what's so disheartening or heartbreaking about it, is that like I watch the paternity court show all the time. Me and my wife watch all the time, and it's certain women go on there, and men, right, who they crying from the beginning of the show to the end of it, like they can't their emotions just ripped to pieces because they wanted to notice their whole lives. And it's because their mother was out there acting, you know, like a whore. You know, like I done watched on the show where they done brought on 3 different people and still don't find them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it also goes back to, like I said, and like those other verses were saying, like basically this is what she do. You shouldn't take pride in having a piece of this woman when that's just what she do. That ain't no, you know, that ain't no feather in your cap, because it don't mean you did nothing. This just what she do, bro. You know what I'm saying?
And here go the coldest part about it. The feather in your cap is the woman who is a virgin and only been with you. That's the feather in the cap.
Or at least, period, your wife, period, who's committed to you and ain't out here running around and doing those things. But absolutely though, you know what I'm saying?
The sister Tanya, thank you for the water for the donation. She put one girl went on Maury over 30 times and still hasn't found her father.
That's crazy, Tanya. Like and I done seen some shows like it's crazy.
It's just madness.
Like how can you be? I understand, you know, and I ain't gonna say I understand, but we know some girls who, you know, might mess around a little bit, but how can you be that much of a whore, bro? Like, it's just, it's crazy. And it's funny because I tell my wife all the time that it wasn't until watching shows like this and the reality TV age that some men even understand that women is even capable of behaving like this. I was growing up thinking women was just on another level of, you know, nowhere women can act like this.
No, because this is how you know we at the end. I seen on World Star either today or yesterday. It was a woman who slept with 1,000 people in one day.
I seen that, man. I seen that.
Like what?
I seen that. Or was it 100? She said she's trying to do 1,000.
I think she did 1,000.
Right, so she went back and did 1,000.
Yeah, she went back and did 1,000.
Lord in Christ, bro. That's crazy. Like, listen, if that was my daughter, stoner. Like, I mean, for real, like that's crazy, bro.
You gotta
and then the fact that you get online and you're influencing other young women like this shit cool, bro.
No, because now she got to propagate it as it is a good thing when it's a horrible thing. That's why you got to stone them. Get them out. Get them out of here.
Listen, after she did the first 100, there was somehow how she sat there crying for like an hour, but then you still went back and did 1,000.
And did 1,000. It's just madness.
Look, and I guarantee you, she probably don't know her daddy. Like she, you know what I'm saying? She probably come from a long line of this same kind of behavior. This is why this behavior is like a cancer, bro. And it got to be cut out like a cancer, bro. You know what I'm saying? But again, that's why I felt like it was important to deal with this today. Because like I said, I sat there talking to these people and talking to these women, and this adultery and multiple wives thing just kept. I'm trying to teach them about multiple aspects of the Bible, and the conversation just kept going back to that. And it's like I said, it's crazy how we think like it's just such a light thing. You know what I mean? And it's not, man. This is Proverbs 6:22. It says, "But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul." Like when you look at the language used on every time we talk about this subject in the Bible, it's like it's dreadful. It's you know what I mean? It's harsh. You know what I'm saying? Sirach 25:21. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman and desire her not for pleasure. Right? Galatians 5:18. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Right? And this is what I was talking about, right? Sometimes what we don't understand and didn't understand is that going by the letter of the law, sometimes we try to use all the little wiggle room we could, or like buying animals to make as a sacrifice ahead of time before we went out and sinned, things like that. We tried to get in the gray room of the law. We tried to get as much wiggle room as we could without breaking the law, right? And that's why it says, but if you be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have told you also in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. The fact that you see something like adultery and fornication right there with murder and hatred and idolatry, and we understand how the Bible speaks against those things, it lets you know it's just as serious as those things. It's not a light thing, right? Again, Matthew 5:27. It says, let me see. I do want to deal with this, but it was something else I want to do before I get this. Let me get this other one first.
Yeah. Why he looking for that, man? Because you know what's so crazy? I'm on my phone, right? And I'm looking at World Star. Just the front page.
The girl, the 1,000.
I was looking for the 1,000 one, but just like I'm reading, streamer Tyler left shattered after hearing what it says. After learning his mother cheating broke up the family. His dad says women are more devious than men. Like you could just read.
And it's crazy, man, because listen, I understand when they say a man's first love is his mother and all of that, and I totally get that. But what I also understand is that, like, my mama, I could never picture my mama being even in this kind of conversation. And that's why it's like things have fallen so far, bro. Things is so far from what they should be. Like I can never picture somebody even fixing their lips to say something like this about my mama, bro. No, and I get it, but that's my mama. But still, I'm just saying, like,
yeah, still on World Star, just the front page. It says after 50 years of marriage, a man got a DNA test done for 3 children. These kids aren't mine. They look so ugly, and it comes out to be them kids ain't his.
He said the kids ain't mine. He said the kids ain't mine. They look so ugly.
Yeah, he said kids ain't mine because they ugly.
He just knew. He was in the spirit. He knew it was.
He knew. Come to find out, it wasn't his kid. Like, bro, this is the madness that
absolutely. It's madness out here right now. I be watching stuff like that on YouTube all the time, bro. I'm talking about niggas like I watched this one video. Nigga already knew she had one child, and he was cool with it. He took that child and raised him like his own. And then they had 2 together, and he come to find out the 2 that they had that he thought they had together. What? So you raised all 3 kids that belong to somebody else while thinking you knew one wasn't yours, no way, and you was fine with it. Now the other 2 really ain't yours. Like bro, that type of stuff get people killed too. Like women, that type of shit get people killed, bro. Like we got to stop playing these games out here like this.
The Bible be warning y'all. What y'all doing is playing with your life.
Worthy of death, man. You're playing with your life, literally. And just because somebody may not kill you in that moment, it don't mean the Most High ain't going to. And the Bible said the Most High is going to. So it's just not something to play with, man. Right? Let me get this Jeremiah 3. Let me see. It was something else I want to get even before that. I forgot what I want. Okay. 1 Corinthians 7:3. In the NLT, right? It says, the husband shall fulfill his wife's sexual needs, and the wife shall fulfill her husband's needs. The wife gives authority over her body to her husband, right? Not to her husband and whoever else is around when her husband is gone, right? She gives authority, meaning like it's not even your body no more. It's literally your husband's body. That's his. It belongs to him. You are his possession according to the Bible. I know some women don't like that kind of language, but you are. My wife is my possession. My wife know that though. This ain't something I'm saying. And y'all be like, oh, he a chauvinist or misogynist, whatever the words y'all want to use. My wife would tell you that she my possession, right? But that's biblical, right? It says the husband should fulfill his wife's sexual needs, and the wife should fulfill her husband's needs. The wife gives authority over her body to her husband, and the husband gives authority over his body to his wife. Do not deprive each other of sexual relations, right? That's one of the reasons I named this relations and relationships, right? You're not when you married to a woman and she wanted, you're supposed to give it to her, right? And vice versa. You married to a man and he wanted, you're supposed to give it to him. All this stalling the nigga out for what? That's his, right? You're supposed to give it to him, right? It says, do not deprive each other of sexual relations unless you both agree to refrain from sexual intimacy for a limited time, right? So you can give yourselves more completely to prayer, right? So even in that sense, right, you got to understand, like, yeah, if you go to your wife, she say, I'm tired, you're like, all right, cool, babe, we'll do it tomorrow. That's different, right? You both agreed. That's different, right? But when it's awesome, well, I ain't giving him nothing until boom, 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 or until he do it. That's against the law, right? That's something you're not supposed to do. Your body belongs to your husband and his to you, right? When you want some, you're supposed to get it. When he wants some, vice versa, right? This is just what the scriptures say. I know sometimes women don't like to hear certain things. I get it. But this is what the scriptures say, right? It says, do not deprive each other of sexual relations unless you both agree to refrain from sexual intimacy for a limited time so you can give yourselves more completely to prayer. Afterward, you should come together again so that Satan won't be able to tempt you because of your lack of self-control, right? So it's telling you right there, and that goes both ways. I get the reason that some women get out here and do their thing because sometimes it's they men that's not giving them the frequency that they wanted, and vice versa. But it says that you shouldn't do that because what? Then Satan comes in and tempts you. Right? Then Satan comes in and tempts you because now you're weak because you ain't had it and you lack self-control at that moment, right? So again, don't deprive each other of sex relations. It's literally just what the book say, man, right? Let me see. This is Sirach 23 in the GNT, right? And it says, there are any number of ways to sin and bring down the Lord's anger, but sexual passion is a hot, blazing fire that cannot be put out at will, right? So it's like I said, right? It's many ways to bring down the Lord's anger, but that sexual passion, that adultery, that fornication, that's at the top of the list, bro. It ain't something to play with, right? It says, a hot, blazing fire that cannot be put out at will. It can only burn itself out. A man who lives for nothing but sexual enjoyment will keep on until that fire destroys him. To such a man, all women are desirable, and he can never get enough as long as he lives. Right. So again, we talked about the women, but it's men that's in the same boat. It's men, it's man whores, right? We're not proponents of, we don't stand on the side of being able to go out and just sex anybody you want, right? Yes, you can have another wife. That's a fact. You can have a couple wives. That's what you want, and that's what you can handle. Right, but just going out having one night stands and being with anybody and again being with other men's wives, no, we don't condone that, right? We don't stand with that, right? And that's what he's talking about. Some men it's worse than women in that sense, and it's like you such a hoe, that's all you think about, and that's going to destroy you, right? So it's so many ways that when you look at sexual intercourse and you look at the fornication and adultery issue, it's so many ways that it can destroy you. And when you let those, and like I said at the beginning of the lesson, we shouldn't be a slave to any sin. But this is something you really don't want to play with, right? It says, no one will ever know. It says, to such a man, all women are desirable, and he can never get enough as long as he lives. The man who is unfaithful to his wife thinks to himself, no one will ever know. It's dark in here, right? Same thing. And no one sees me. I have nothing to worry about. As for the Most High, won't even notice. This is the same verse, but I'm getting the other translation because I'm going to go a little further down, right? It says, he doesn't realize that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, that he sees everything we do, even when we try to hide it. He knew everything before he created the world as well as after. That sinful man will be caught when he least expects it and punished publicly. The same is true of a woman. And that's the thing about it too, right? Back in those times, not only were you to be executed by stoning, you were supposed to stand out and people was going to sit there and watch you be stoned to death. So not only were you being put to death, but you had to live with the embarrassment of the whole situation as well, right? It says, and punished publicly. It says the same is true of a woman who is unfaithful to her husband and presents him with a child by another man. In the first place, she has broken the law of the Most High. In the second place, she has wronged her husband. In the third place, she has made a whore of herself by committing adultery and bearing the child of a man not her husband. The children will suffer for her sin. They will not be able to find a place in society. And that's what he's talking about when we read it in the other translation, that's what happens. Like you feel like you have no place in society. When you watch some of those shows, them people they just feel like they can't get it together and they don't know why. This is why, right? It's almost, I ain't gonna say almost, it's a curse on you, right? When you are created that way, it's a curse on you, bro. The Most High not gonna let you get it together in a sense, right? It says they will not be able to find a place in society or establish families. She herself will be, and again, and we see that too, that the woman's mother was in that position and she's in that position, then her child's it goes down the line. It's a curse that has to be broken, right? It says she herself will be brought before the assembly and permanently disgraced. There will be a curse on her memory. After she is gone, everyone will realize that nothing is better than fearing the Lord. Nothing is sweeter than keeping his commands, right? So that's it. it's a couple more things I want to go into, but I feel like I've been on this enough right now. Let me hit this part though, because I was talking about how we got to submit to each other, but we have to understand. Women have to understand. The Bible says that the woman is the weaker vessel. That's not an insult, right? It's just the order of things, right? The Most High made the order of things, and He made for the man to be over the woman. And I've heard women say, "Well, where's our place?" Y'all don't understand that y'all are more precious in the Most High's sight than us in that sense, right? Y'all are a more precious resource, right? That's why we the ones supposed to go out and war. We the ones supposed to put our lives on the line for y'all, right? Because y'all are a precious resource. So don't think that because the order of things is you being under us that you don't have a special place in the Most High's eyes, because you do, right? That's why the Bible says that a man who finds the woman finds a possession, right? More sweeter than rubies and more sweeter than all those things, right? So you gotta understand you are a lot more precious in the Most High's eyes than you give yourself credit for, which is also why a woman ain't supposed to have but one man her whole life unless that man dies, right? So it says, this 1 Corinthians 11:3, it says, "But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God," right? This is 1 Peter 3:5 in NLT. It says, I'm going to run through these and I'm going to let y'all go, right? It says, 1 Peter 3:5 says, "This is how the holy women of old made themselves beautiful. They trusted God and accepted the authority of their husbands." So it told you, in antiquity, this made a woman beautiful to be submissive. This made a woman beautiful to understand what her place was. And I'm not saying that as an insult, like know your place. No, I'm not saying it like that. But I'm just saying that if there's an order, then there's a proper place for the woman, just like there's a proper place for the man, just like there's a proper place for the child, right? And in antiquity, it made a woman more beautiful when you saw a submissive woman. When you saw the Bible speaks about how a quiet woman has, a certain amount of beauty added to her, right? And how a woman shouldn't, like when you're in assembly, when you're learning, how you shouldn't, unless you're, asking of your husband, you shouldn't even be raising questions and asking questions when you're learning, when you're in the congregation, right? You're supposed to lead that up to your husband, right? So again, it says, "This is how the holy women of old made themselves beautiful. They trusted God and accepted the authority of their husbands." So again, we talked about this before. I've seen Sakari brothers talk about this many times. If you pick a good man, then you shouldn't have no question on why you should submit yourself to him and listen to him, right? You should have no question on why you should give that authority of yourself over to him, right? Because you picked a man who was good for these things like leadership, right? You picked the right man, so now you don't have to worry. You can let your guard down and just be submissive and be led, right? And I get when women say, "Well, all men." Well, listen, I get it, right? But the Bible also says He gives a wicked woman to a wicked man. So sometimes you got a wicked man, you still need to check yourself, because it's the reason the Most High gave a wicked man to you, because you're a wicked woman, and vice versa. It's a reason the Most High gave a wicked woman to you, my nigga, because you a wicked nigga. Like that's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just what it is, right? This is Esther 1:22 in the GNT. It says, "To each of the royal provinces he sent a message in the language and the system of writing of that province, saying that every husband should be the master of his home and speak with final authority," right? So again, this just goes back to the proper order of things. That's not to say that your husband should be in the house telling you that you can't even have a point of view. Hell no, that's not what we're saying. That's not what I'm saying, right? You can absolutely have a point of view, but you have to understand that final word, that final authority, like it says right here, has to be the master of the home, which has to be the husband. It says right here, right, that it says, "To each of the royal provinces he sent a message in the language and the system of writing of that province," right? This is even a decree, basically, right? It says that, saying that every husband should be the master of his home and speak with final authority, right? So again, I'm not saying man don't give you no say about nothing and you have no point of view and you can't. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying when it comes down to that final word, you have to respect your husband's authority, right? And even when you're talking about your body, it's the same thing. That body, your body belongs to you. So that's why when we talk about even things like clothing, I know some brothers teach that a woman can't wear pants. We don't teach that because that's not really in the Bible. It's not what the Bible says. And in so many words, the Bible says you can wear whatever your husband's comfortable with.
So that also goes, women, even though it's not in the Bible, if your husband wants you to not wear pants,
then don't exactly.
it's still
right?
on him.
Exactly. Submit to your husband as the final authority, right? And if your husband don't got a problem with it, then you good, right?
Then
But
you
some
good.
brothers do. We see it all the time. Some brothers absolutely have a problem with it, right? But again, that's between you and your husband, right? Ephesians 5:22 says, "Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord." Right? I know a lot of women don't like to hear that. We all say we love the Lord, right? This says, "Submit yourself to your husband as unto the Lord," right?
Treat him like God.
Right. You treat your husband as your Lord. That's why Sarah called Abraham Lord, right? You treat your husband as your Lord, right? And again, some women don't have a problem with things like this, but there's many women out here that do. They got to understand it's just what the books say. It's like even when we talk about salvation, I say all the time, I understand people, feeling uncomfortable with certain things, but the books say what it say, right? And it's certain things that we as Israelite brothers and leaders of households, some things make us uncomfortable, but we do it because the books say what it say. And that's that. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing to argue about, right? Psalms 45:11 in NLT says, For your royal husband delights in your beauty, honor him, for he is your Lord. Right? That's two scriptures in a row telling you what? Your husband is your Lord. Right? We again, I know the times that we living in, and I know concepts like these seem to ruffle certain women's feathers, right? But nothing in this book, and I've said this 100 times. Most High ain't asking our opinion on nothing in this book, man. So if your feathers is ruffled, unruffle them, because the Most High don't care no way, right? So you might as well look at all the different concepts in this book and just get in line with it. The quicker you get in line, the easier life will be for you when you're trying to live according to thus saith the Lord, right? And we understand that, certain things aren't, it ain't Old Testament, it ain't literally thus saith the Lord, but we understand that all these things are, written in the spirit, if you will, right?
It's written for our learning. That's what
God, written for our learning, God, right. You know what I mean? This is Titus 2 and 3. I'm gonna go through 5 and I'm gonna close this out, right? And we done all brought this out before, but I think it's so valuable to hear right now the way certain women is out here acting, right? It says the aged woman likewise. This is Titus, 2. And so I'm sorry, verse 3, right? It says the aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, right? So when you run out here with your ass all out, you're not being discreet, right? When you run out here behaving in certain ways, you're not being discreet. And again, this lesson wasn't just about getting on women. That's why I dealt with the adultery side, thing from both sides. But when we're talking about submission, this part is for the women because you're supposed to submit to your husband. That's just what the books say, right? Please don't be mad at me. The book just say what it say, right? It says the aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becoming holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed, right? And again, if you take those 3 verses, it kind of sums up everything else we've taught. Because if you do these things, you won't be out here committing adultery. You won't be out here being a harlot, being a whore. You won't be out here, being a literal prostitute. Like if you look at these 3 verses and you take them to heart, you won't be out here at odds with your husband, even over things like sex. You won't. It won't happen, right? Because I love these 3 verses because it give you a nice, quick little 3 verses that give you a bunch of guidelines inside of it if you understand everything that's going on, right? Again, the last one is to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, right? Stay out the streets, right? When you're in the streets, be discreet. Don't have your ass all out, right? Keepers at home. Don't even be in the streets like that, no way, especially without your husband, right? That's why I tell you all the time, that girl trip syndrome is a no-no according to the Bible. Why? Because if you're not supposed to be in the company of other men without your husband, and that's what most girl trips lead to. I'm not saying that y'all all go out there to go freak off, but I'm just saying you end up in the company of other men without your husband and
Drunk,
while
man.
drinking.
Yeah.
And while drinking. This brother just brought out the verses that showed you you're not supposed to do either one. So that's why, according to the Bible, girl trips are no-nos, bro. And then you're supposed to be what? Discreet. When you're on those girl trips, that's when your ass is all out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's when they like to twerk and do all that stuff.
You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? Like, listen, that's why I say all the time, listen, don't get me wrong. Like, I want women to be able to still have a good time and enjoy themselves, but you still got to do that according to the laws. You still got to do that according to the Bible. You know what I mean? We can't make God of our own belly. We can't make God to be the God of whatever we just like. No, he tell us what to do. He tell us how to do it. He tell us what the guidelines is on so many things, on everything, right? All we got to do is do them. You know what I mean? And I get, again, that in this day and time, some things may seem hard, but we got brothers in this camp and in the other camps, just the Israelite community in general. You got brothers younger than me, way younger than me. You got brothers older than me, brothers who willing to give their life to keep this law. And we need our sisters to do the same thing, right? You're not excluded just because we got to go out and do the work. You still got to keep this law, right?
And you're just as important as us keeping the law.
Absolutely.
So don't take that away from us.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And our kids ain't going to learn it the right way without you taking part and teaching and learning this law and teaching it back to them and being, you know, the stewards over them understanding this book in the right way, right?
Because you're the first teacher. The woman is the first teacher. So you got to get it too.
Absolutely. You the son's first love, and you all children's first teacher. Period. Yep. And that's why I said, and that's why I say, even with my mama, like, you know, when we was at odds over this book, it was killing me, because that's my first love. Yeah. My mama, to this day, I can sit around and have a 3, 4, 5 hour conversation with my mama, because it's just that's just my partner. You know what I'm saying? But I went through a period when I got in this Bible that for some of these same reasons, speaking of the laws and certain these, that we was at odds. You know what I mean? But the longer I'm in it, the more she respects it. The longer I'm in it, the more she see how serious I am. The longer I'm in it, she see I have no intention of going back. Right. So again, that's my lesson. Right. It's just that when we're dealing with things like relationships, there's a way to govern it, and it's all in this Bible. Right. When you're dealing with relations, right, sexual relations and how you move around those issues, it's in the Bible how you govern it. When you're dealing with relationships, it's in the Bible on how you govern it. And if you keep those laws and keep those statutes and commandments, you ain't gonna have no problem. You know what I'm saying? So that was the point of my lesson for tonight. I know I went a little longer than I really wanted to, but that's it. You know what I mean?
That's it. I give 2 scriptures, and this one's for the ladies, right? And this to help y'all out, right? So this one's for the ladies, directed towards the men. So this is the book of Sirach, chapter 4, verse 30. Be not as a lion in thy house, nor a frantic among thy servants. So even if you got leadership and rulership, you can't be in your own house acting like a lion, just roaring and just doing whatever the hell.
Not at home, right?
This is not what we're telling y'all. Y'all got to come with some type of tact. And I see brother posted it in earlier, and some of y'all read the other scripture to it, but I'm gonna read the other one. The book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 24. 25. Ephesians 5 and 25. Right, husband, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. So you should be out here loving your wife so much you're willing to die for her. And not only that, you can't be a lion and just doing all types of madness in your house. So that's for you women. It goes both sides.
Absolutely.
We got to do this together. We want to make it. We want to make it out of this hellhole. We want to make it to the kingdom, and we can't do it without each other. So that's the only thing I got to say. I'll give it a minute. If anybody got any questions in the chat, man, throw them in the chat. Or any suggestions on next classes for my brother, throw them in the chat. So we'll give it a minute. I'll give it a minute. Lisa Who said, good job, Z. And that was deep.
Hey, we love you, Lisa. Appreciate the love. All praise to the Most High.
All right. I'm just going through the see if there's any questions we might have missed. Yeah, some weirdo in there saying some madness in the chat, man. I had to go ahead and get them up out of there.
You know how that go. We expect that to happen anyway.
Oh yeah. Also, I found the chick that I was talking about. Her name is Bonnie Blue. Bonnie Blue said she slept with 1,057 men in just under 24 hours. I mean, just under 12 hours.
Like, I don't even know how the body could even do that. Like it's
the same chick who slept with 100 dudes.
That's madness.
In 12 hours, she slept with 1,057 men in 12 hours.
That's fucking excuse
Mentally,
me.
she's going. I don't care how you can. I don't see how she can recover mentally on something
For
like
real, bro. She don't know. She don't know yet that she won't. She don't know. You know what I mean? Right now, you're living off the little viral moment and the popularity that might even come with it. She don't realize that she'll never really be able to overcome that and recover from that, man.
Yeah, Utter Madness. Lady name is Benny Lou. OnlyFans is killing these women out here, man. I'll tell you that, but
it's crazy, bro. I feel bad for, even though she probably a heathen. I still like, how could you even think like that's just it's crazy.
Yeah, she's a heathen, but still, it's madness. It's madness.
Madness.
It's madness. Right. And you got to call out this madness, like John the Baptist when he called out Herod. He said, "You can't be sleeping with your brother's wife." Right. We call out madness across the board.
And look, it got him killed. But hey, he had to get it off.
And that's the same thing about us, man. We're gonna tell you what's right and what's wrong, even if it costs us our life, man. It don't look like we got any questions. If you got any suggestions as far as next class, just put it in the comments. I'll let the brother know.
God.
And with that, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Shalom, family.
Shalom, y'all.